Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. Tonight we'll be talking about change and developments. We'll be talking about quality assurance, about green management, and about how can the management of quality and green management help the economy and help in the creation of jobs and help in sustainable development. That is our main topic for tonight. As usual, we begin with a look at the major stories making the headlines in the field of economy for this past week. And Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli has said that the state is providing all possible facilitation to promote local and foreign agricultural investment. Madbouli made the remarks on Tuesday during a meeting at the Cabinet's premises in New Al Alamein city to review the executive procedures to activate bilateral cooperation between Egypt and Italy in the field of agriculture. In the meantime, also the Prime Minister witnessed the establishment of the first United E-Platforms company here in Egypt. This came as the Premier witnessed the online establishment of the first company of the General Authority for Investment in Free Zones, GAFI, in which the event was also witnessed through a video conference by a host of ministers. During the event, the Prime Minister pointed out that this service comes within the outcome of the Supreme Investment Council that was held in May and presided by His Excellency President Assisi. Madbouli said that the commence of this service reflects the state's keenness on providing a climate that can attract more investments to Egypt. He also directed to promote this service to inform investors about the steps required to establish their companies on the E-platform. And Water Resources and Irrigation Minister Hani Swalem said that Egypt is looking forward to further cooperation with African countries with the view to promoting economic integration and ensuring prosperity in the African continent. This came during a meeting with former Foreign Minister and Chairman of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Mohammed Al-Arabi. During the meeting, the participants discussed progress made so far in the implementation projects between Egypt and African and Nile Basin countries. They also reviewed the work of the African Ministers' Council on Water under the current Egyptian presidency of the Council. The minister said that Egypt, during its two-year presidency of the Council, will address water-related issues in Africa and the impact of climate change and its links with floods, torrential rains, droughts and hurricanes. He further noted that he will continue coordination with various African countries to assert their support for the Action on Water Adaptation and Resilience program, which was launched by Egypt during the 2022 climate conference COP27 held in Sharm el-Sheikh, and also backed the participation of African countries in capacity building programs offered by the Pan-African Center for Water and Climate Change Adaptation. And Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Tariq Al-Mulla has asserted the importance of localizing the nuts and bolts of industries complementary to mining activities, especially in light of tangible progress achieved in the gold mining sector in Egypt. During a meeting with chairman of German company Plus, Stefan Wellers, and his accompanying delegation, the two sides discussed looming investment opportunities in Egypt in the various mining industry complementary sectors. The company's interest in establishing a factory for producing sodium cyanide compound, commonly used to leach gold from ore, figured high during the meeting. In statements, the Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources said the ministry's strategy to upgrade the mining sector attaches great importance to incorporating green mining eco-friendly methods involving the adoption of practices that minimize waste and reduce emissions, thus benefiting from the expertise of world-leading firms in this regard. For his part, the Cyplus chairman lauded the great progress achieved in the mining sector in Egypt that lured many companies to invest in this domain. Time now for a short break here on Business Insider. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us. With us now here in the studio is Dr. Shahira El Gayyar, Change and Development Consultant. Very good evening to you, Dr. Shahira. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening to you.
And Dr. Shahira, dear viewers, allow us to first watch a report about our main topic for tonight, the economic benefits of quality assurance and green management.
The significance of the Green Economy program rests on Egypt's commitment to participate in the international efforts to enhance the efficiency of resource use, reduce carbon emissions and waste, and reduce pollution and the degradation of the ecosystem. It seeks to achieve integration between the four dimensions of the sustainable development, namely economic, environmental, social, and technical dimensions. The government of Egypt adopted a long-term plan for wind energy and set a goal for meeting 20% of the electrical needs from renewable energy sources. Wind energy covers 12% of those needs. Egypt's green economy strategy aims to expand the range of targets set for specific sectors, including the energy sector. Program goals are achieving tangible economic growth and ensuring and deepening the concept of green economy, ongoing improvement of resources efficiency, environmental impacts, and social dimensions, raising awareness on cost reduction as well as utilizing competitive advantage arising from the relying of an environmentally sustainable approach. Project achievements: installations of the 150 models for solar power plants in the industrial, commercial, tourism, residential, and public buildings, working in 15 governorates with a total capacity of 9.8 megawatts and energy saving by 13 gigawatts per year. Expected outcomes are reducing carbon dioxide emissions by 7.9 kt with the aim to reach 129 kt by 2034. Reducing costs of establishing solar plants by 18%. The implementation of training programs to increase awareness of solar power plant technologies for 201 trainees from different backgrounds: engineers, students, journalists, banking and financial sector. And developing a solar energy roadmap as a new administrative capital until the year 2030.
Thank you very much, Abir Hussein and Rasha Abdul Hamid, for this report. Back here in the studio with Dr. Shahira El Gayyar, the Change and Development Consultant. Dr. Shahira, quality assurance or quality policy, we don't hear as much about it as we hear about quality control, when the word quality is usually associated with control, at least to, to those who are not specialized in the field of economy. Could you tell us what does quality assurance mean, or what is exactly the quality policy and its importance in companies, in the economy, and the difference between quality assurance and quality control, for instance?
Okay. To start with, we need to know what is quality and the culture of quality itself. As in Egyptian society, we need to spread the concept of quality culture. Quality assurance and quality control is mostly about industry, products, clients' requirements, and things that are specifically related to production and industry. What I really to point out is that as a society, we need to establish the quality culture, especially the serve-qual culture, the quality of services. That is directly related to the economy, directly related to the welfare and the quality of life of the giver of quality and the receiver of quality of service. We need to know that a sector, for example, like tourism, it is one of the main sources of foreign exchange currencies in Egypt. We directly have its input. It does not go through channels. We directly feel it, senses as citizens, people who are serving tourists. They directly receive foreign currencies. The plane tickets, the hotel reservations, the businesses that flourish and thrive because of tourism. We have entire communities like Luxor and Aswan. We have Hurghada, Sharm el-Sheikh, El Gouna. We have even here the capital, Cairo, Alex. We have all sorts of tourist activities that if we handle it well with quality service, I think tourism will be booming in the next few years. The state has done its best to facilitate things for tourists who want to visit Egypt, and other things facilitating business for people who are serving the tourism sector. I'm talking about tourism because it's a very good example. The thing about services is that you assess the quality immediately as you receive the service. If you buy a product, you wait until you buy it, it's delivered, and then you use it, whether it's a machine, a car, food, whatever.
It might take time for you
yes,
to assess
it
the
might
quality.
be in storage
the durability
or storage for a while until we assess the quality of product. But service like tourism, like hospitality establishments like hotel, restaurants, the healthcare institutions are providing services. Education is a service. So you feel and sense the client, I mean, the quality of the service the minute the instant you receive it.
I guess communication as well, and
there are 8 main points for the quality of services. One of them, the most important for tourism, is responsiveness and politeness. We need to train people who provide services in Egypt, whether in the governmental sector or the private sector. We need to train people to deliver a quality service. If you deliver a quality service, you ensure your client's loyalty, you ensure the positive review, you ensure the positive word of mouth, you will be highly recommended to others. Quality of services is related to the senses and the feelings of the client, so it's embedded strongly. Say, for example, that you go, you have a meal or you go to a restaurant and the service is excellent. You definitely go back there and you recommend it. Otherwise, if it's not good, you disagree, or you do not recommend it for anybody and you do not go there again.
You're definitely talking, Dr. Shahira, about a very important point. Quality, or you described it, or you termed it as the culture of quality that you want to see spread. I guess that industries like the banking industry, for instance, or the other financial industries, or any business where there is communication between the client and the employees at that facility could be considered as a service, as another example of a service where quality is also going to be very, very important.
Service could be B2C, business to client, or it could be B2B, business to business. Things we hear terms like ISO, and we hear a number. The most general and the most common standard is the ISO 2015. It's about the quality of management systems. Every company needs to do this. If we go to other industries, each industry has its own standards, whether ISO or not. ISO standards are American standards that are usually applied to most businesses. But businesses like something that's very special, like mining or aviation or food processing, they have other types of standards that are not ISO standards. To know or to measure a standard, we have several practices like a checklist that we need to do if we're talking industry or even services.
Right.
What I really would like to see in Egypt is the concept of quality spread among Egyptians, the culture of quality itself. Each and every standard related to a certain business has its own specialists that ensure that we control quality, we assure quality. We have things in quality like terms that could be simple for the common citizen but could help a lot. We have something that's called best practice. Best practice is a term. It's very simple. It's the best way to do something, reducing waste and having maximum productivity. Kaizen, for example, it's a Japanese term talking about a continuous improvement, because if you don't change, you're obsolete. If you don't change, if you don't improve, you die as a business. We have things like preventive actions, like we do things or we make sure that we have certain standards to prevent mistakes, waste, hazards. We have also corrective action. It's things that we do to correct our previous errors and mistakes and waste. Sometimes, God forbid, we have some errors concerning safety or something. It could end up in a catastrophe. So quality is very important in industry, production, and
services and everything, as you mentioned.
Everything
Dr.
in
Shahira,
life.
you know, listening to you, everything in life. When I was just thinking, while you were talking, it came to my mind that, even art, there should be more quality in art, or quality control, or quality assurance in sports. Because sometimes here in Eid, sometimes we want to do things in the best practice, as you mentioned.
Best practice.
We want to play football like Brazil plays.
Yes.
We want to play basketball like the US. We want to have cinema like Hollywood. So it's quality. So because sometimes you see quality going down in some areas.
Yep.
So is the problem the absence of the culture of quality, or is the problem the fact that those who manage those activities do not realize the importance of quality, or where is the problem?
We start
because
with,
in some fields there is a lack of quality.
We start with the culture. You sell the idea of quality to the community, pinpointing and highlighting the importance of quality. It's not something luxurious or something extra. That it's a core need to have a quality life in the first place. we need to see as a community that practicing quality in life in general reduces waste, reduces stress, is definitely a shortcut to success. We have excellence models, but that comes later on. I think in Egypt, as a professional, me and my colleagues, people who work with people, I think we need to have a special source of training, and not that type of training that we go into a room and somebody, an instructor having a lecture and slides, presentation, and that's it.
You want it to be practical.
We have something that's called on-the-job training. It's a type of training that have 4 stages in any activity. You show by doing, and then you assess and give feedback. That's simple. There are 4 steps.
Could you mention them?
Okay. First of all, you explain and mention the process, the best practice of the process, and then you ask the trainee to tell you what he or she understood of the process. You make sure that this person understood the process. You could show by talking or a video or tutorial or whatever. You pick your tool, and when you make sure that this person has understood the process you are training that person for, you display the process. You do it yourself, or the trainer does the process for the employee, and the trainee, and the trainee observes. And then you ask the trainee to do the process slowly and gradually, no stress, no time limit, and you need to put that person in the environment of the execution of the process. If you are training a teller in a bank, you have to be in the bank branch training in weekends. Pilots have simulators. Cooks, they enter the kitchen. People who teach need to make demo teaching. And then you assess, you give feedback, and then you have the process done again, maybe up to 4 or 5 times. And then you put the person on the job, you monitor the person, and you give feedback.
Practice makes perfect. I mean, we've always heard that.
First we get knowledge, we get knowledge, we get practice, we get repetition, and then it becomes an attitude.
Right.
You do it automatically, you don't think.
Right. With minimal effort later on as you get to learn the process better and better. I mentioned, I'm happy you mentioned teaching, and you earlier mentioned education as a key service, and also the health sector as a key sector of services. So the importance of having quality assurance and quality policies and training, especially in the fields of education and healthcare, and what is it that we need to do more here in our country to uplift those 2 key sectors?
If you would excuse me, I would like to go back to football.
Okay, please.
Because I'm not a football person, but I watch football for other purposes, not for the game. Football is a very good example because all Egyptians like football. Most of Egyptians like football. Most of the world like football.
Love football.
Yes, love football, and are fans.
And claim to understand everything about the game, more than the coaches.
So you said that we want to play football like Brazil. You need to assess the national team as individuals and as a team. Take, for example, if we want to have a quality goalkeeper, okay, we need to know what do we need from that person. We need fitness, quick response, ability to take a calculated risk. So before you choose the physical attribute in young players age 13, 14, and 15, you need to assess the character style. Is that person an analytical person? The DISC analysis. Is he an analytical person, an intellect person, or is that person a driver, a result-oriented person, a quick decision maker? You have to select drivers for football goalkeepers, because you need a person who is able to take a strong and quick, calculated risk. People who are intellect or analytical, besides the fitness and the motor abilities that is a talent that they are born with and then we develop it by training, that person has to be an intellect person.
And usually that intellect person, sorry for interrupting you, but since you mentioned the goalkeeper, I would imagine would have a vision of where the ball is going to go and what's going to happen next, so he's going to position himself or herself.
That's calculated risk.
You know, right.
And that person needs to shift the decision in a split of a second. If the ball comes from elsewhere or into a different angle. If he's intellect or analytical, these people are slow decision makers, but they are very meticulous. They have like a checklist inside their minds that they need to check before they move. So that person should be someone who is involved with
coaching, maybe.
Coaching, defense.
Oh,
okay. Not all.
Not a goalkeeper.
Not a goalkeeper. So
and not a forward. Not a striker.
Yes, we select a job fit material.
Maybe a playmaker.
Yeah. If you are having like in a restaurant, quality of services, you are having in a restaurant, you're having waiters and waitresses. These people have to be amiable and expressive.
And patient.
They acquire this by training. They are patient because they are amiable. Amiable people, this is a character style, this is a classification. In the interview we should be doing, you have a section for this. If that person is amiable, so the ultimate value of that person is people. He's a people-oriented. So he would be empathetic, that person would be patient, you know, could read facial expressions of the client. On the other hand, you could also have a waiter or a waitress who is expressive. That person is fun-oriented, is very expressive, could talk with people, could deal with everyone. They are good at dealing with people. They have verbal intelligence that is high. I cannot have a waiter who is intellect, but I could have an aviation engineer who's intellect, someone who's working in the oil industry in maintenance and safety, because these people are very good at following a checklist. People who are working in
I want to ask about teachers and doctors.
Teachers, let's go back
to education.
Let's go back to teachers and doctors. A teacher material is not very important to be a scholar, because this could be acquired. But a teacher material, depending on the topic or the subject these teachers are teaching, if they are teaching math, statistics, finance, accounting, physics, these people need to be good mathematicians. So they need to be intellect people. People who teach physical activities at schools or arts, or for example social studies, history, they need to be compassionate people, so they should be amiable and expressive. Doctors, if they are surgeons, they need to be drivers. If there are cardiology or an oculist, they need to be either amiable or expressive, because they deal directly with the people.
Patients, yes.
They need, all doctors deal with patients, but they need to show a bit of compassion, empathy to their
And reassure.
reassurance.
Right.
Though I met surgeons who are really empaths, and they are very successful. The more you have attributes of the four main characters, the more you have flexibility, the more you are a material of success person. If you want to know...
But you could be jack of all trades.
Yes.
And master of none.
But you could be master of all if you want to. Everything is done by training. If you need to know who are you,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, you try to remember yourself at your formative years, the age of 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Not everyone can do this.
Some people, they don't remember their childhood at all. We make some tests, psychometric tests. If you are people-oriented, if you really cared about people when you were young, then you are an amiable. If you really cared about fun and going out and playing, you are an expressive. If you cared about security and doing things the right way, then you are an intellect person. If you care about results, then you are a deriver.
But probably, as you mentioned, Dr. Shahira, every one of us is a mix of these four.
We acquire
with the different percentages.
It depends on the flexibility of the person. When we are young, at the age of 6, we go to school. And then we understand that the world is not about us. It's about other people. And then we try to flex to others. Then we acquire the qualities of other character styles. We need to apply something that is called ikigai. It's a Japanese term. It is about discovering your purpose in life. If you really have an ikigai mentor, you get, it's like utopia. You get to do what you like, and you get paid for it.
That's the optimum, I guess.
That's the shortcut to quality in the Egyptian society. We allocate people according to their styles, their passions, their readiness for what we are asking them to do.
And this is why...
That's quality.
Yeah, we believe, or experts in this field believe that if we focus on quality, then this is definitely good for the economy, definitely good for society and for sustainable development at large.
Yep, that's our dream. People who work with people and equality and quality of life, me and my colleagues, that's our dream. If you want to talk more traditional, we could also address green management.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, the Egyptian economy needs to enhance or develop its balance of payment. We need to export more, import less. Exports, you could export products, and you could export services, like the Suez Canal. It's a service. Okay, the movies. It's an industry, but when you export it as a service. People watch drama or movie or whatever we make, and they consume it as we deliver it. If we want to export more, we need to address the world with its requirements. Quality is more about the requirements of the client. Okay, we call it client standards, like something that is customized or special made. If you want to export oranges for Europe, for example, the orange itself should have a certain qualities, size, texture, taste, sweetness. This is the standard of the European market, for example. If you want to export tourism and compete with most of the Middle East countries are tourist countries. If you want to compete why people should come to Egypt and not go to other countries, then you have to offer a quality service of tourism. Many countries around the world, they have standards for things that they could be exported from Egypt. So you study the standard and you modify your product, whether it's B2B or B2C, according to their standards. And one of the most important standards nowadays is green management. I have an example about a success story in Egypt. And
very quickly, please, because
yes.
we're running out of time.
Okay, and that was the reason for to have in the country foreign exchange. It is a B2B business. One of their products was the maintenance kits, you know, the things that we put on the driving wheel and the gear and these things. Yeah. These things are either, or these pieces are either paper or plastic. Paper is needed. When we produce paper, we cut trees. Plastic degrades in 200 years. This company, it's an Egyptian company, they were able to have a material that is environment friendly, yes, eco-friendly, and it degrades in 2 months. And they went to an automotive conference in Las Vegas, and they were asked to produce, instead of 22,000 kits per month, local consumption, they were asked to produce 500,000 kit, maintenance kit, for export as a sample. Only a sample.
It was not a gamble in Vegas, but it worked.
No, they were not gambling, they were working.
Yeah, because from 22,000 to 500,000, that's usually a result of a successful gamble. But that was not a gamble.
It was a hit of luck because they were producing something that was eco-friendly.
Yeah, because you can't mention Vegas without gamble being in the same phrase anyway. So
I'm sorry, it was Vegas.
No, that's wonderful.
But they were doing business in Vegas.
They were doing it safely, actually.
Yes, that's a success story in Egypt.
Yeah, beautiful. Unfortunately, dear viewers, that's all the time we have. On behalf of you, we thank very much our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Shahira El Gayyar, the Change and Development Expert. Thank you very much,
thank you.
Dr. Shahira. We've enjoyed it. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching us. Next week, same time, inshallah, is a new episode. Until then, have all the best and goodbye.